The warmer weather is upon us, thank goodness, and which brings me to the topic of this particular video, which is hydration. You know, it's a fact that most of us don't get enough water at any time of the year, especially through the warmer months. In fact, estimates say that at least 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated, and it's taking a toll on you health-wise. For starters, your cellular regeneration and overall health depends on adequate water intake. In fact, your body needs water to make new cells of all type, whether they're bone cells, blood cells, heart cells, skin cells. All the cells of the body require water in order to function properly and to be remodeled, repaired, and regenerated. Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Bartosh of Proactive Wellness and Injury Center here in Danville, Illinois, and I want to share with you some information regarding the importance of hydration, that is, getting enough fluids into your body. Additionally, as I was saying about your cells, every organ and bodily system requires water to function correctly and to maintain its state of health. Likewise, drinking enough water keeps your lymphatic system, that's basically the sewage system of the body, in top shape so that it can drain out all the wastes and all of the toxins that you absorb throughout a daily basis. So the bottom line here is that if you're not getting enough water, these toxic materials, this waste materials, is staying in inside of your body, and over time it's going to result in sickness, I can tell you. Also, it's not saying that adequately hydrated can do for you, though. That's not all it can do for you. Actually, water is also very, very important in keeping your joints lubricated. It delivers nutrients to your nerve system so that the nerves can fire properly and more effectively and efficiently. It helps your blood to transport oxygen and other essential nutrients into the cell. We've talked about that in a previous video. And also, it even makes it so that your heart doesn't have to work as hard pumping the blood through your body. It actually helps to regulate your metabolism too, and it aids in digestion and the body temperature control too. And as an added bonus, when you have enough water, it also hydrates the cells of your skin, and it plumps them up. You know, it prevents you, especially ladies, from worrying about those deep furrows or ridges or wrinkles that you get. Many times it's a result of being dehydrated. And also, getting back to the heart, here's something for those of you who may be taking high blood pressure medication. Try this little experiment, if you will. Take your body weight, it will say hypothetically it's 120 pounds, divide it by 2, and the answer would be 60. That's the number of ounces you'd want to drink. So hear me out on this. So take your blood pressure in the morning on any particular day, write it down. Then during that day, make sure that you're drinking your baseline in ounces of water that you found out through this equation that you need. And then as an added little safety net, add an additional 10 ounces to it. So if it was 60 ounces, drink 70 ounces. Then what I'd recommend you do is to take your blood pressure the next day at the same time and see if it hasn't reduced. I'm here to tell you that many times one of the culprits in increasing our blood pressure is the fact that the individual is dehydrated, making the blood viscosity, the thickness of the blood, or making the blood thicker, making it harder for the heart to pump, thereby increasing the blood pressure. So if we get back to this example, just by increasing the fluid intake, it's going to make the blood thinner, it's going to make it easier to pump, less strain on the heart, lowering the blood pressure. You know, as I've said in previous videos, the body's fearfully and wonderfully made, and I'm telling you, most of the conditions, the diseases and disorders that we experience or are subject to are a result of things that we do to ourselves or fail to do throughout life. There was also a doctor, and excuse me, I don't want to mispronounce his name, Feridun Batmanghelidij, and he was the foremost authority on the relationship between water consumption, the amount of water we take, and overall health. And in his research, he showed that many of the common diseases and ailments that we have are actually names given to patterns of symptoms created by the fact that the body is dehydrated. Let me explain. What he's saying is that many of these diseases that we have are actually symptoms resulting from a dehydrated body. So if the heart isn't getting enough hydration, if it's not getting enough fluid, you may have heart conditions. If the liver isn't getting enough, it may become fibrotic. If the digestive tract if you're not getting enough water, you may end up, it may result in constipation, and it goes on and on and on. And his research definitely showed that many of these, as I stated earlier, these conditions are a result of the fact that people are dehydrated. Now, also when your body is dehydrated, it goes into a conservation mode. For example, the brain is over 85% water. It's the most important of all the organs that we have. It controls everything, and it has to be kept hydrated. Now, the body is a self-preserving entity, and what it's going to do is it's going to keep that brain watered at all costs, even if it means redirecting water from other parts of your body. Did you know that even when you're breathing, you can sap or diminish your water supply, and it depends, of course, upon the climate that you're in and your level of physical activity. This is why I'm always recommending to my runners and all the athletes that we take care of that they remain and maintain a really excessive level of hydration, because their body is experiencing an increased physical demand, and when they're breathing out, there's a lot of evaporation that takes place, a lot of water that's being lost, and it's imperative that you increase that water or resupply that water deficiency. And if you're not getting enough water, what your body's going to do, it's going to fight against the respiratory water loss by producing histamines. And I know you're familiar with histamines, and what the histamines are going to do is they're going to close off the capillaries to the lungs to prevent the additional loss of water. Now, when these capillaries close off and they constrict, that water loss is minimized, but breathing is going to become more difficult. Now, follow this. Because the person's dehydrated, the body produces histamine to prevent the additional loss of water, especially when the climate increases. It produces these histamines, so it constricts the capillaries in the lungs, and in order to protect the brain so it doesn't suffer. But what happens then, as I said, it's going to protect other areas of the body to protect the brain. But what happens is the body then, because the lungs are restricted, the person is going to experience labored breathing. You follow this? So they go to their doctor, and when they do, they're diagnosed with some type of respiratory disorder, for which they're given an antihistamine, and they squirt that garbage into themselves in order to improve their breathing, when in fact the breathing restriction is a result of the body protecting the brain because they're dehydrated. So what we're saying to you is, if you're one of these individuals who is always reaching for the little pump, and you're having difficulty breathing throughout the summer months or whatever it might be, why don't you start increasing your water intake and see if the problem starts to abate or reduce a bit. Who knows? This could be the answer to your dilemma, and it could liberate you from having to take all of that chemical into your body. It's important to note also that drinking water doesn't make you gain weight, ladies. You have to understand that. That's garbage. That's junk science. It doesn't cause you to gain weight. As a matter of fact, the opposite is true. Water is going to rev up your metabolism, and it's going to help you to feel full. And when you feel fuller, you're not going to become a glutton. You're not going to overeat because you have this feeling that you have to eat more. As a matter of fact, research shows us that hunger pangs are actually the body letting us know that it's wanting more water and needing more water. So how does that work? Well, the foods that you eat, since you're not drinking the water through since you're not drinking the water, what you're doing is eating more food. Inside the food, the cells that make up the food have moisture in them, so the body's getting what little moisture it can out of the food you eat. Therefore, if you're not drinking, you're going to eat more. You follow that? I hope I made that clear. So you don't gain weight. It's again, the body being conservative. If you're drinking enough water, the body says, well, hey, that's great. Then we don't have to store the water. It's actually going to help you lose weight. Those little fat molecules and those toxic balls that the body's getting rid of are going to be flushed out by the lymphatics that we talked about earlier, and it's not going to result in increased weight gain. So the bottom line is that you probably need to drink more water, and certainly a lot less of these other beverages that we've talked about also in previous videos. For instance, the soda, the caffeinated beverages, and other drinks that really don't need the body, they don't meet the body's need for hydration, and as a matter of fact, they can rob you of the existing water that you have in your body. They will dehydrate you, and you certainly don't want that to happen. So the bottom line is this: stay hydrated. And again, use that formula that I gave you earlier in this video and in previous videos. Take your body weight, divide it by 2. That number that you come up with is the baseline of the amount of ounces of water that you want to drink. That's a great start. And if the weather's warmer, if your physical activities are increasing, whether it be yard work or exercise, then add to that amount, because it's going to go far in promoting what we want you to achieve, and that is the best performance of your life. That's what it's all about. Look, I want to thank you for watching this video. If it's been of benefit to you, please, I would invite you to subscribe to our YouTube station, which is Proactive Wellness. And if you have any questions or comments or any other topics that you'd like to have covered, please feel free to leave them in the comment box below. Once again, I do want to thank you, and as always, God bless.